much. Please be seated. The Chair of the Council of Governors, Uhuru, the Governor of Kirinyaga, and a daughter from the mountain. Excellencies Governors, Excellencies Deputy Governors, the Principal Secretary, State Department of Devolution, Terry Baika, Honorable Senators present, Honorable Members of the National Assembly present, the representatives of constitutional commissions and independent institutions, heads of missions and members of the diplomatic corps, members of the county assemblies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Allow me to read what my team and I have put together, and thereafter speak from my heart in a plain and simple language. I join you for the 8th Devolution Conference and the first biennial conference as we celebrate a devolved but complementary system of governance. Over the last 4 days of this convening, which was opened by President William RUTO on Wednesday, we have appreciated the transformation of investing resources at the bottom of the socio-economic pyramid where they belong. As staunch believers in sparking grassroots economies, we have picked good practices and lessons for better, bolder and broader steps into the next decade of devolution. That is why the sub-theme, driving transformation from the local level, county governments as the center of economic development, is very apt. Governors, distinguished guests, at the start of our administration, President William RUTO was wrongly criticized for being purported to have scrubbed off the Ministry of Devolution. This was not the case. It was a case of elevating devolution to the presidency. And in less than 1 year into office, the President has shown commitment to delivering on the devolution dream because it is aligned to the bottom-up economic transformation agenda. We have no room for a failed devolution because it is the anchor of the Kenya Kwanza transformation agenda. We are keeping the promise. In our first year in office, the national government owes no county a penny. On the other hand, President William RUTO elevated devolution and placed it at the office of the Deputy President, and in this regard, devolution enjoys a direct ear to the presidency. Besides being the chair of the Intergovernmental Budget and Economic Council, I'll be given the role to be the bridge between the national government and the county governments. In short, I am the representative of the devolved units at the decision-making table of the executive. On assuming office, I undertook to eliminate conflict between the two levels of government, and I convened a meeting of all county commissioners and directed them to accord due respect and work closely with elected governors and the county governments. Governors, distinguished guests, as a result of that directive, there is seamless cooperation and collaboration between the two levels of government because we serve the same people. There are no Kenyans who belong to the national government, and there are no Kenyans who belong to the county government. All Kenyans are Kenyans, and they belong to the two levels of government. I have repeatedly cautioned the county commissioners and the security commanders that they must respect elected leaders and they must find a way to work with elected leaders. And I have told them repeatedly, in the unlikely and unfortunate events that they are unable to work together, governors are not transferable because they belong to those counties. And if they cannot work together, one must give way. Our plan is not an accident. It is a carefully thought out framework. It is a vehicle carrying the aspirations of counties, inspiring the economy of the grassroots. It is the position of President William RUTO that the bottom-up economic transformation agenda is synonymous with the devolution. Devolution and better are twin sisters, and they all aspire to achieve the same objective. That is why collaboration and partnership, despite the distinct nature of the mandates of the national and county governments, are key. We are here to cultivate and oil our mutual working relations for seamless service delivery. The conversation of this conference, therefore, has established that devolution is not a competition, but rather a working in a complementary manner for the benefit of the people of Kenya in the respective 47 counties. Excellencies, governors, distinguished guests, the advent of devolution has led to the rise of health facilities from about 8,000 in the year 2013 to over 13,700 to date. While it is in the interest of the counties to adequately provide technical and equipment support, leveraging partnership with the national government ensures quality health service. As we collectively work to implement the universal health coverage, the national government has also given priority to preventive health care to ultimately reduce pressure on the county facilities. Governors and distinguished guests, similarly, when more than 4.5 million people in over 30 counties faced famine recently, in the worst drought in 40 years after 5 failed consecutive seasons, it was out of collaboration between the national government and the county governments that no Kenyan died from hunger. As we expect a bumper harvest, counties were key in the last mile delivery of over 3 million bags of subsidized fertilizer to our farmers in at least 40 devolved units. Such partnership has been crucial in our own illicit brews and drug abuse. We have held forums between the county governments and the national government to deal with this menace. Besides public reforms in the coffee, tea, dairy, and other key subsectors. As President William RUTO said on Wednesday in this very conference, I would like to ask counties to work with us in the registration of farmers and in delivery of phase 2 of the subsidized fertilizer distribution to the farmer. Excellencies, distinguished guests, from these examples, comparing notes between the national and county governments, it is important in strategic planning and execution of short-term, mid-term, and long-term measures. Long-term measures involve pragmatic approaches to addressing the perennial issues and rebuilding back better in resilience programs under the shared or common functions. Last month, President William RUTO tasked me to represent him at the UN Food System Summit in Rome, Italy. A lesson to pick from the summit was the importance of pooling resources and investing in establishment of structured, self-sustaining food systems. In the face of the climate change threat, which knows no national and county government functions, combined actions and investments in climate-smart agriculture will enhance the national food security and protect better the environment. With the inclusion of food trees in the equation of planting 15 billion trees by the year 2032, we move closer to addressing the negative effect and impact of climate change. While this conference has also listened to the voices of the children, it is also a moment to decide on establishing a long-term framework on the school meal program, with counties having hired over 51,000 ECD teachers. Sustaining growth in enrollment and retention is key. The current school meal program has reduced dropping out of school by 56.5%, while milk alone has increased enrollment by over 50%. Under the self-sustaining food system, The school meal program is a potential economic opportunity in inter-county trade. Already, counties like our hosts, West in Gishu, are providing milk to children. This is a source of market for the dairy farmers. Our administration has also doubled funds for the school meal program to 5 billion Kenya shillings to cater for about 4 million learners while benefiting our farmers. As more counties embrace the meal initiative, there is need for a formal framework to expand and extend and sustain the program, which touches on our farmers directly. This is the real bottom-up development plan, as it will allow counties exchange their products. Excellencies, governors, distinguished guests, intra and inter-county trade is an essential component now that more than 90% of our counties keep missing own source of revenue collection targets. It is time to strategize and implement better plans of cooking a bigger cake for sharing. This is the ultimate answer to easing the revenue demands from the national government and reducing dependence. While we are empowering the counties to be economic powerhouses, we take note of the vulnerable groups of people amongst ourselves. They include orphans, the elderly, people living with disabilities, among others. They are at a risk of being left behind. The national government is rolling out another registration in September. We seek to partner with the counties in dignifying these special groups as conceived under the Inua Jamii program. We invite you to work with us in the registration process. On the other hand, the national government is working hard to securing our nation. As a result of our intervention, of telling our security teams that we are not in competition with the county government, a framework has been developed on how we can secure our people. I want to thank governors in the North Rift and Northern Kenya for agreeing to partner with the National Police Service in building houses for National Police Reserve and providing stipends as they work on dealing with insecurity and banditry. In building stronger security systems, we must continue to work together in ending terrorism, banditry, and other threats. Governors, distinguished guests, it is now my duty to declare the 8th Devolution Conference and the first biennial conference officially closed. Asanteni sana. Maybe niseme tu jambo moja. You know, in this country,